The black SUV screeched around the corner of Sunset Boulevard at 2 in the morning, and nobody in LA even blinked. But inside that car, everything was about to change. See, there's this girl, right? Senator's daughter. The kind of girl who's supposed to be untouchable. The kind who lives behind gates and security cameras and guys in suits with earpieces. Her name's on charity galas and college deans' lists. Picture perfect life, totally clean, zero drama. Except tonight, she's got a gun pointed at her head, and the only person who knows she's missing is the last person who should care. A man who's built his empire on making people disappear. A man who answers to nobody. A man who, for reasons nobody can figure out, just called off every deal, every meeting, every play he had lined up, to chase down that SUV. Word on the street is spreading fast, whispered in back rooms from Venice Beach to downtown. The big boss, the one everyone fears, just went dark. And if you know anything about how this city works, when a guy like that drops everything, someone's either about to die or something way bigger is going down. Real quick, if you want to know how a mafia boss ends up being the only hope for a senator's daughter, and why nobody can ever find out about it, hit that subscribe button right now and smash the like. Because this story gets wild, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens when two worlds that should never touch collide in the most dangerous way possible. Plus, I drop stories like this that'll keep you hooked all the way through. So subscribe, like, and let's keep going. Let's rewind 12 hours. Beverly Hills, some fancy restaurant where the wine costs more than most people's rent. She's sitting there, this girl named Rebecca, across from her father, Senator James Hartford, and she's bored out of her mind. Another political dinner, another fake smile, another night of pretending she cares about campaign donations and poll numbers. Rebecca's 23, fresh out of USC, got that California Golden Girl vibe, you know what I'm saying? Blonde hair, designer everything, daddy's credit card, the whole deal. But here's the thing nobody knows, she's tired of it. Tired of being the perfect daughter, tired of the cameras, tired of security following her to Whole Foods like she's gonna get snatched buying organic kale. She just wants to breathe, to be normal, to go somewhere without everyone knowing her last name. So after dinner, she ditches her security detail. Yeah, you heard that right. She tells them she's heading home with her father, then slips out the back of the restaurant like some kind of spy movie. Her driver thinks she's with her dad thinks she's with her driver, and boom, she's free. She hits up this bar in West Hollywood, nothing fancy, just somewhere she can blend in and nobody's gonna recognize her. And for like 2 hours it's perfect. She's just another girl having a drink, chatting with random people, laughing, living. But then she notices this guy watching her from across the bar. Not in a creepy way, more like he knows something she doesn't. He's dressed too nice for this place, got that look about him like he's used to being in control. She figures he's just some businessman slumming it downtown, but something about the way he keeps glancing at his phone, then at her, makes her uncomfortable. Rebecca decides to bail. She orders an Uber, heads outside, and that's when things go sideways real fast. A black SUV pulls up, not her ride, and before she can even process what's happening, two guys grab her. No warning, no words, just hands on her arms and a gun pressed against her ribs. They shove her in the vehicle and take off, and the whole thing goes down in like 15 seconds. Nobody on the street even notices because this is LA, people mind their own business. Inside the SUV, Rebecca's heart is pounding so hard she thinks it might explode. One guy's driving, the other's in the back with her, gun still pointed at her side. She tries to talk, tries to ask what they want, but the guy just tells her to shut up and stay quiet. They're not amateurs, she can tell. They know exactly what they're doing, and that scares her more than anything. Because if they're professionals, that means someone hired them, and if someone hired them, that means this isn't random. This is planned. Meanwhile, across town in a penthouse overlooking downtown LA, there's this man named Dominic Kane. And when I say man, I mean the kind of guy who makes other dangerous people nervous. He's 38, built like he's been in more fights than he can count, got these dark eyes that don't miss anything. He runs half the underground operations in Southern California, from the docks in Long Beach to the clubs on Sunset Strip. Drugs, weapons, information, you name it, his organization touches it. But here's what makes Dominic different from other guys in his line of work: he's smart. Like really smart. He doesn't do the flashy thing, doesn't draw attention, keeps his name out of the papers. Most people don't even know he exists, and that's exactly how he likes it. Dominic's in the middle of a meeting with some associates from Vegas when his phone buzzes. He glances at it, sees a message, and his whole expression changes. Everyone in the room notices because Dominic never reacts to anything, but whatever's on that screen just made him go ice cold. He stands up without saying a word, walks out of the meeting, and his second in command, this guy named Marcus, follows him out looking confused as hell. In the hallway, Marcus is like, "What's going on, boss? We're in the middle of negotiations," and Dominic just shows him the phone. It's a photo of Rebecca Hartford being shoved into an SUV, timestamp from 20 minutes ago. Marcus doesn't get it at first. He's like, "Okay, Senator's daughter got grabbed, that's bad, but why do we care?" And that's when Dominic says something that makes Marcus's blood run cold. "Find her," Dominic says, and his voice has this edge to it that Marcus has only heard a handful of times, usually right before someone ends up in the desert. "Find her now, pull everyone we've got, I don't care what else is happening, find that car." Marcus wants to ask why, wants to know what the senator's daughter means to his boss, but one look at Dominic's face tells him this isn't the time for questions. So he gets on the phone, and within 10 minutes, every resource they've got is activated. Guys on the street, contacts in the LAPD, traffic cameras, everything. Because when Dominic Kane says drop everything, you drop everything. Back in the SUV, Rebecca's trying to stay calm, but she's failing. Her hands are shaking, her mind's racing through every terrible possibility. Is this about her father? Did he make enemies? Is someone trying to get to him through her? Or is this something else entirely? The guy with the gun finally speaks up, tells the driver to take the 101 north, and Rebecca realizes they're leaving the city. That's when the panic really sets in, because if they get her out of LA, if they take her somewhere remote, her chances of survival drop to basically zero. She thinks about her phone in her purse, wonders if she can somehow call for help, but the guy seems to read her mind because he grabs her bag and tosses it to the front seat. Now she's got nothing, no phone, no way to contact anyone, and nobody even knows she's missing yet. Her security team thinks she's home safe, her father probably went to bed thinking she's in her apartment, and by the time anyone figures out something's wrong, she could be states away or worse. But here's what Rebecca doesn't know, here's the part that's about to change everything. Dominic Kane has eyes everywhere in this city. And I mean everywhere. Within 30 minutes of her being taken, his people have identified the SUV, tracked it through traffic cameras, and figured out exactly which route they're taking. Dominic's already in his car, Marcus driving, and they're heading north on the same freeway, closing the distance. Marcus finally asks the question that's been eating at him, "Boss, why are we doing this? Why does the senator's daughter matter to us?" And Dominic doesn't answer right away. He just stares out the window at the LA lights disappearing behind them, and for a second, Marcus sees something in his expression he's never seen before. Something that almost looks like fear, but that can't be right because Dominic Kane doesn't get scared. After a long silence, Dominic finally speaks, and what he says doesn't really answer the question but somehow makes everything more intense. Because she's not supposed to be in danger, he says quietly, she's supposed to be untouchable, and if something happens to her, everything I've built, everything I've protected, it all falls apart. Marcus doesn't understand what that means, doesn't get how a senator's daughter connects to their world, but he knows better than to push. All he knows is they're racing against time, and whatever's about to happen, it's gonna be big. The SUV carrying Rebecca exits the freeway near Santa Clarita, heading into darker, more isolated roads. She's been quiet for the past 20 minutes, trying to control her breathing, trying to think of a way out. The guy with the gun is on his phone now, speaking low, and she catches pieces of the conversation. "Yeah, we got her. No complications. Warehouse like you said. 20 minutes out." That word, warehouse, makes her stomach drop. Nothing good happens in warehouses at 3 in the morning. She's seen enough movies, heard enough stories from her father's work with law enforcement. Warehouses are where people disappear. But here's where things get interesting, and I mean really interesting. See, Rebecca's not just some random senator's daughter. Her father, Senator James Hartford, he's been crusading against organized crime for the past 5 years. Made it his whole political identity. Tough on crime, zero tolerance, all that stuff. He's pushed through legislation, funded task forces, made a lot of powerful people very angry. So the logical assumption here is that someone from that world grabbed his daughter for revenge, right? Makes sense. Except that's not what's happening. Not even close. The guys who took Rebecca, they don't work for any crime family. They work for someone way different, someone on the other side of the law. Someone who's supposed to be one of the good guys. But we'll get to that in a minute. Right now, Dominic's car is flying up the 101, Marcus pushing 90 miles per hour, weaving through the light late-night traffic. Dominic's on his phone coordinating with his people, getting real-time updates on the SUV's location. He's got guys on motorcycles trailing at a distance, got someone hacked into traffic systems feeding him camera footage, got the whole network activated. And Marcus is watching all this go down, watching his boss move heaven and earth for this girl, and he's putting pieces together in his head. See, Marcus has been with Dominic for 8 years. He knows things about the boss that nobody else knows. And there's this one thing, this one detail that's been bugging him for a while now. About 6 years ago, Dominic changed. Like really changed. He was always careful, always strategic, but he became almost obsessive about staying under the radar. Stopped taking certain jobs, avoided anything that might draw federal attention, specifically anything involving Senator Hartford's investigations. At the time, Marcus figured it was just smart business, don't poke the bear. But now, watching Dominic's face in the dashboard lights, watching how his jaws clenched and his hands are gripping his phone like he might crush it, Marcus realizes there's something way more personal going on here. They're getting close now. The SUV's about 15 minutes ahead of them, heading toward an industrial area outside the city. Dominic tells Marcus to kill the headlights, they're gonna approach quiet, and Marcus can see his boss is already running scenarios in his head. How many guys, what weapons, what angles, how to get her out without anyone getting killed. And yeah, you heard that right, without anyone getting killed. Because normally, in Dominic's world, if someone crosses him, if someone threatens something he cares about, the response is pretty final. But this is different. This has to be surgical, has to be clean, has to be done in a way that leaves no trace back to him. Because here's the thing nobody knows yet, here's the secret that's been eating at Dominic for 6 years. Rebecca Hartford isn't just the senator's daughter. She's someone he knows. Someone he met before all this, before her father became his enemy, before their worlds became impossible to reconcile. Let me take you back 7 years. Dominic wasn't always the cold, calculating boss everyone fears today. Yeah, he was in the life, running operations, making moves, but he was younger, a little less careful, a little more human. And one night, at this charity event in Malibu, some fancy fundraiser thing that he attended for legitimate business reasons, he met this college girl. She was 20, studying political science at USC, volunteering at the event. Blonde, beautiful, but that's not what caught his attention. It was the way she talked, the way she saw the world, like she actually believed things could get better, like she had hope. They talked for hours that night, just the two of them on the terrace overlooking the ocean, and for the first time in years, Dominic felt like he could just be a person, not a criminal, not a boss, just a guy talking to a girl. He didn't tell her what he really did. Told her he was an import-export, which technically wasn't a lie, and she didn't ask too many questions. They exchanged numbers, started meeting up, coffee shops in neutral parts of town, walks on the beach, late-night phone calls. For 3 months, Dominic had this secret life, this pocket of normalcy that nobody in his organization knew about. And the girl, Rebecca, she had no idea who he really was. Then her father announced his campaign for Senate, and his whole platform was about destroying organized crime in California. Dominic saw it on the news one night, saw Rebecca standing next to her father at the campaign launch, and everything clicked into place. The daughter of the man who was about to become his biggest enemy. The girl he'd been falling for was completely off limits, existed in a world that could never touch his. He cut contact immediately, no explanation, just disappeared from her life. Changed his number, avoided any place they used to meet, buried that whole chapter like it never happened. And Rebecca, she was confused, hurt, probably spent weeks wondering what she did wrong, but eventually she moved on. Went back to her perfect life, finished school, became the senator's golden child. But Dominic never forgot. Couldn't forget. And he made a decision that nobody around him understood. He put the word out quietly, through channels that nobody could trace, that Rebecca Hartford was untouchable. Anyone in his world, anyone connected to any organization, any criminal outfit in Southern California, they were to leave her alone. Not because of her father, but because of reasons Dominic kept to himself. For 6 years, that protection held. Nobody touched her, nobody even looked at her wrong, and Rebecca never knew she had a guardian angel in the shadows. Until tonight. Until someone who apparently didn't get the memo or didn't care, decided to grab her anyway. And now Dominic's racing through the dark trying to fix this, trying to save her without revealing who he is, without destroying the illusion that their worlds never connected. Marcus finally speaks up as they get closer to the warehouse location. Boss, if we do this, if we hit these guys and take her back, there's gonna be questions. She's gonna want to know who we are, why we helped. How do we explain that? And Dominic's response is cold, final, like he's already thought this through 1,000 times. We don't, he says. We get her out, we make sure she's safe, and we disappear before she ever sees our faces. She goes back to her life, thinks maybe she got lucky, thinks maybe the cops found her or she escaped or whatever story makes sense to her. But she never knows it was us. She never knows I was there. Because that's the only way this works, that's the only way she stays safe. If anyone finds out there's a connection between her and me, if her father's enemies figure out I care about her, she becomes a permanent target. So this has to be invisible. We're ghosts. Marcus nods because he gets it now, understands the impossible situation his boss is in. Dominic's about to risk everything, his operation, his reputation, maybe his life, to save someone who can never know he saved her. They can see the warehouse now, sitting dark against the night sky, one flickering light by the entrance. The SUV's parked outside and Dominic's counting at least 3 guys visible, probably more inside. He reaches under his seat and pulls out a weapon, checks it quickly, and looks at Marcus with an expression that's all business now, all focus. "This is it," he says quietly. "We go in fast, we get her out, and we vanish. No trace, no witnesses who can talk, no connection. Understand?" Marcus nods, pulls his own weapon, and they step out into the night. And inside that warehouse, Rebecca has no idea that the only person who can save her is someone from her past, someone she thought was just a memory, someone whose world should never touch hers but is about to collide with it in the most dangerous way possible. Hey, real quick, what do you think so far? Drop a comment below. Have you ever had someone from your past show up when you least expected it? Do you know someone who's been in an impossible situation like this? Tell me your story, I want to hear it. Your comments help me keep bringing stories like this to you, so don't hold back. And stick around till the end because what happens next is gonna blow your mind. Trust me, you don't want to miss how this all comes together. Dominic and Marcus move through the shadows like they've done this 1,000 times before, because they have. The warehouse is old, probably used to be some kind of manufacturing plant back in the day, now it's just concrete and rust and broken windows. Perfect place to hide someone. They approach from the side, staying low, and Dominic's already clocked the security situation. 3 guys outside, all armed, all looking bored like this is just another job for them. That tells him something important: whoever hired these guys didn't send there a team. These aren't professionals protecting a high-value target, these are just muscle getting paid to babysit until morning. Inside the warehouse, Rebecca's sitting on a metal chair, hands zip-tied behind her back. The main guy who grabbed her is across the room talking on his phone, and she can hear him getting frustrated. "I don't know, man," the voice on the other end keeps changing the plan. First it was hold her till morning, now they're saying wait for further instructions. This whole thing feels wrong. And Rebecca's thinking the same thing because nothing about this makes sense. If they wanted ransom, they would have contacted her father by now. If they wanted to kill her, she'd already be dead. So what do they want? Why take her? Why bring her out here and then just wait? The guy gets off the phone, looks at her, and for a second she sees something in his expression that almost looks like regret. Like maybe he's realizing he got into something he doesn't understand either. Then the lights go out. Everything goes pitch black, and Rebecca hears shouting, movement, the sound of something hitting the ground hard. It happens so fast she can barely process it. There's a brief flash, someone's flashlight maybe, and she sees shadows moving, fighting. She hears one of the guys yell and then nothing, just silence. Her heart's pounding so hard she thinks everyone can hear it. Is this a rescue? Is this someone worse? She doesn't know whether to feel relieved or more terrified. Then she hears footsteps coming toward her, slow and deliberate, and a voice cuts through the darkness. "It's okay," the voice says, and something about it makes her freeze. It's deep, calm, controlled, but there's something familiar about it that she can't place. "You're safe now. We're gonna get you out of here." A flashlight clicks on, pointed at the ground so it doesn't blind her, and she sees a figure crouching in front of her. He's wearing dark clothes, face partially covered, but his eyes, God, those eyes. She knows those eyes. Her mind is racing, trying to place where she's seen them before, and then he pulls out a knife and cuts the zip ties on her wrists. "Can you walk?" he asks, and his voice is different now, harder, like he's trying to disguise it. But Rebecca's not stupid. She's confused and scared, and her hands are shaking as the blood flows back into them, but she knows she recognizes something about this person. "Do I know you?" she asks, and the question hangs in the air between them. The man doesn't answer, just helps her to her feet and starts moving her toward a side exit. Marcus is there, motioning that the path is clear, and Dominic's trying to move fast, trying to get her out before she gets a better look at him. But Rebecca stops, plants her feet, and even though every instinct is telling her to just run and get to safety, she needs to know. "Who are you?" she demands, and her voice is stronger now. "Why did you help me? How did you even know I was here?" Dominic knows he should just keep moving, should get her to safety and disappear like he planned. But standing here, this close to her after 6 years, hearing her voice, he feels something crack inside the walls he's built. "We don't have time for this," he says, and starts to pull her toward the door. But Rebecca yanks her arm back, and in that movement, in that moment of resistance, his face covering shifts just slightly. Just enough. The flashlight catches his features for maybe 2 seconds, and Rebecca's eyes go wide. Her whole body goes rigid, and she takes a step back like she's seen a ghost. No, she whispers, and there's disbelief in her voice, shock, confusion, maybe even fear. No, that's not, you're not. Dominic freezes. This is the moment he's been dreading, the moment he's been trying to avoid for 6 years. Their eyes meet, really meet, and he sees the recognition dawn on her face. David, she says, using the fake name he gave her all those years ago. Oh my God, David? But that's not really your name, is it? Her mind is putting pieces together fast, too fast. The way he fights, the way he moves, the resources he clearly has, the fact that he found her when nobody else could. This isn't some businessman, this isn't the guy she met at that charity event who told her he worked in import-export. This is someone dangerous, someone from a world she's only heard about in her father's security briefings. Who are you? She asks again, and this time there's an edge to her voice. What are you? Marcus is getting nervous, looking at Dominic like they need to move now, but Dominic can't seem to move. He's standing there, mask half off, looking at the girl he walked away from 6 years ago, and every plan he had is falling apart. Rebecca's backing away from him, and he can see the fear creeping into her expression as she realizes the implications. You're one of them, she says quietly. One of the criminals my father's been trying to stop. That's why you disappeared. That's why you cut contact. Oh God, did you have something to do with this? Did you set this up? And that question, that accusation hits Dominic like a punch to the gut. No, he says, and his voice is rough, urgent. No, Rebecca, I swear I had nothing to do with this. I'm here to protect you. I've always been protecting you. What does that mean? She demands. Protecting me from what? From who? Why would you? And then she stops, realization hitting her. The protection wasn't from random criminals. It was from something specific, from someone she should know about. Dominic knows he's already said too much, knows he needs to get her out of here and worry about explanations later. But before he can say anything else, Marcus's voice cuts through the tension. Boss, we got company. Multiple vehicles closing in fast. This wasn't supposed to happen. Whoever took Rebecca, whoever hired those guys, they're not done yet. And now Dominic's in an impossible situation. He's exposed, Rebecca knows who he is, or at least knows enough to be dangerous, and they're about to be surrounded. He makes a split-second decision. He grabs Rebecca's hand, and even though she tries to pull away, he holds firm. You can hate me later, he says. You can ask all the questions you want, you can go to your father, you can do whatever you need to do. But right now, if you want to live through the night, you gotta trust me. One more time. Just one more time. Rebecca looks at him, looks at the door where she can hear vehicles pulling up, looks back at this man who's simultaneously a stranger and someone she once cared about, and she realizes she doesn't have a choice. She nods, just barely, and Dominic pulls her toward the back exit. They burst out into the night air, Marcus leading the way to where they stashed their car, and behind them Rebecca can hear shouting, footsteps, the whole situation exploding into chaos. She's running next to a mafia boss through an industrial wasteland at 4 in the morning, and nothing in her carefully constructed life prepared her for this moment. Nothing prepared her for the fact that the one person who can save her is the one person who should never be part of her world. And as they reach the car and Dominic practically throws her into the back seat, as Marcus peels out with headlights appearing behind them, Rebecca realizes with absolute certainty that after tonight, nothing will ever be the same. Because now she knows the truth, or at least part of it. And that truth is more dangerous than any kidnapping, more complicated than any crime her father's ever investigated. The man she thought she knew 7 years ago doesn't exist. But the man who just saved her life, the criminal who's been protecting her from the shadows, he's very real. And she has no idea what to do with that information. They've been driving for 30 minutes, switching cars twice, taking routes that make no sense to Rebecca but clearly make sense to Dominic and Marcus. The vehicles that were chasing them are long gone, lost somewhere in the maze of industrial roads and side streets. Rebecca's in the back seat, mind racing faster than the car, trying to process everything that just happened. Every few minutes she looks at Dominic in the front passenger seat, studies his profile in the passing streetlights, and tries to reconcile the man she's seeing with the person she thought she knew. Finally, as they're heading back toward the city, she breaks the silence. Who were those men? The ones who took me? Why did they grab me? Dominic doesn't turn around, keeps his eyes forward. I don't know yet, he says, and she can hear the frustration in his voice. But I'm gonna find out. That's not good enough, Rebecca says, and there's steel in her voice now, the shock wearing off and anger taking its place. You don't get to just save me and act like that explains everything. You owe me answers. Were you really? What do you do? And why have you been protecting me? Dominic finally turns to look at her, and the expression on his face is complicated, layers of things she can't read. What I do, he says slowly, isn't something you want to know about. And the protection, that's because 6 years ago I made a choice. I walked away from you because our worlds couldn't coexist. Your father's mission is to destroy people like me, and if anyone knew there was a connection between us, you'd become a target for every enemy I've ever made. So I disappeared. But I made sure that nobody in my world would ever touch you. Tonight someone broke that rule. Rebecca's trying to absorb this, trying to understand the implications. So what, you've been watching me for 6 years? That's insane. She struggles for the right word. I haven't been watching you, Dominic corrects. I've been making sure you're safe. There's a difference. You've lived your life, done your thing, and I've stayed completely out of it. But I put the word out that you were off limits, and until tonight, everyone respected that. So whoever took you, Rebecca says, connecting the dots, they either don't know about your protection or they don't care. Which means what? Which means this is bigger than a simple kidnapping, Dominic says grimly. Someone's making a play and they're using you to do it. I need to figure out who and why before they try again. Rebecca's quiet for a moment, then asks the question that's been eating at her. When you knew me before, was any of it real? The coffee, the conversations, she stops, can't quite finish the sentence. Dominic's jaw tightens. All of it was real, he says quietly. That's why I had to walk away. They pull up to a street corner in West Hollywood, a few blocks from where Rebecca's night started to go wrong hours ago. Dominic turns to face her fully now. You're gonna go home, he says. You're gonna tell your security team you ditched them and went to a friend's place, that your phone died, whatever story works. Tomorrow your father's gonna hear about some kind of incident, probably a failed kidnapping attempt that got interrupted, but there won't be any evidence, no witnesses, nothing that leads back to what really happened. And me? Rebecca asks. What am I supposed to do with all this? Forget it, Dominic says, and there's something almost sad in his voice. Go back to your life, stay away from situations like tonight, and let me handle the rest. You're good at your world, I'm good at mine, and they need to stay separate. Rebecca looks at him for a long moment, and Dominic can see her processing, calculating, deciding something. Then she does something he doesn't expect. She pulls out a phone, not hers, one of the guys from the warehouse must have dropped it, and she snaps a photo of him before he can react. Insurance, she says firmly. Because I don't know if I believe you, I don't know if I can trust you, and I don't know what game you're playing. But if anything happens to me or my family, if I find out you're lying about any of this, that photo goes straight to my father and every law enforcement agency in California. Dominic should be angry, should take the phone, should make sure there's no evidence. But instead he almost smiles. Smart, he says. Your father taught you well. He opens the car door for her, and Rebecca steps out onto the familiar streets of her world. She stands there for a second, looking back at him, and there's so much unsaid between them, 6 years of questions and what-ifs and roads not taken. One more thing, she says. Why did you really help me tonight? You could have just let your protection stand, let whoever took me deal with the consequences later. Why risk exposing yourself? Dominic meets her eyes, and for just a second the armor comes down. Because some things are worth the risk, he says simply. Rebecca doesn't know what to say to that, so she just nods and steps back. Marcus pulls the car away from the curb, and through the rear window, Dominic watches her standing on the sidewalk, getting smaller and smaller until she disappears. She's safe, Marcus says. We did it clean mostly. Nobody knows. Dominic doesn't respond, just stares out at the city lights. Because he knows something Marcus doesn't, something Rebecca's about to figure out in the coming days. This isn't over. Not even close. Whoever grabbed Rebecca tonight, whoever hired those men, they're still out there. And the fact that they made a move despite Dominic's protection means they either have serious backing or they know something that changes the whole game. Back in her apartment, Rebecca finally makes it home as the sun starts to rise over LA. She stands in her bathroom, looking at herself in the mirror, and she barely recognizes the person staring back. 12 hours ago she was bored, restless, looking for an escape from her perfect life. Now she's got secrets that could destroy her father's career, knowledge that could put her in more danger, and a connection to a world she's supposed to hate. She looks at the photo on the stolen phone, Dominic's face captured in the dim light of the car. She should delete it, should forget this whole night, should go back to being the senator's perfect daughter. But she doesn't delete it. Instead, she finds herself wondering about the real story. Who were those men? Why did they take her? And what did Dominic mean when he said this is bigger than a simple kidnapping? Over the next few days, Rebecca starts paying attention to things she never noticed before. Conversations her father has behind closed doors, meetings he takes that aren't on his official schedule, the way certain people in his security detail look at her differently. And slowly, piece by piece, she starts to realize something that makes her blood run cold. The kidnapping wasn't about her father's enemies in the criminal world. It was about something else entirely. Something closer to home. Something that involves people who are supposed to be on the right side of the law. Meanwhile, across the city, Dominic's digging into the same questions. And what he's finding isn't making sense unless, and this is the part that changes everything, unless the people who took Rebecca weren't trying to hurt her father. They were trying to protect him. From what? From a scandal that's about to break. From information that's about to come out. From secrets that have been buried for years in the name of justice and political ambition. And if Dominic's right, if his suspicions are correct, then Rebecca's in more danger now than she was in that warehouse. Because she's asking questions, she's looking into things, and the people who orchestrated her kidnapping, the people who are supposed to be the good guys, they can't let her figure out the truth. Which means Dominic's protection isn't enough anymore. Which means the invisible wall he's maintained between their worlds for 6 years is about to come crashing down. And when it does, when Rebecca finally uncovers what's really going on, she's gonna have to make an impossible choice. Trust the system her father represents, the law enforcement and political machinery she's been raised to believe in. Or trust the criminal who saved her life, who's been protecting her from shadows she didn't even know existed. The man who might be the only honest person in this whole twisted situation. So here's the thing, this story? We're just getting started. Because what Rebecca doesn't know yet, what Dominic's about to discover, it's gonna flip everything you just heard completely upside down. The real villain isn't who you think it is, the conspiracy goes way deeper than organized crime, and the choice Rebecca has to make, it's gonna be impossible. I've got the next part ready to go, and trust me, you're gonna want to see how this plays out. Click on the next video right now, don't wait, because once you hear what happens next, you're gonna understand why some secrets are more dangerous than any bullet. The senator's daughter and the mafia boss, their story's about to get real, and you need to be there for it. Hit that next video, let's keep this going, because I promise you, what comes next is absolutely crazy. Don't miss it.